Hello everyone, I am Dr. Siyad, MBBS, MD in Health Informatics. I am also specialized in clinical terminology and medical coding.
In this video, we are going to discuss what is medical coding, one of the most in-demand career skills in the entire healthcare industry. Whether you are a complete beginner or a healthcare professional looking to expand your skills, someone exploring a new career path, this lecture is designed especially for you. So, what exactly is medical coding? At its core, medical coding is the process of translating healthcare diagnoses, procedures, medical services, and equipment into universal alphanumeric codes. Think of it as the universal language of healthcare documentation. Here's how it works in practice. When a patient visits a doctor, the physician documents everything: the symptoms, the diagnosis, the treatments performed. A medical coder then reads the documentation and assigns a standard codes to everything. These codes are then used by billing department to submit insurance claims and the provider paid. So look at the flow diagram of this slide. It starts with the patient visit, moves to the medical records, the coder assigns the appropriate codes, and finally the billing claims is submitted. Every single step in this chain depends on accurate coding. Why does this matter so much? Accurate coding enables insurance reimbursement, supports healthcare data and analysis, ensures regulatory compliance, and facilitates continuity of patient care. So in short, without medical coders, the entire healthcare financial system would come to a halt. That's how important this role is. Now, let's look at the four major medical code sets that every coder must know. The first is ICD-10-CM, the International Classification of Disease, 10th Revision, Clinical Modification. These are diagnosis codes. They can be up to 7 characters long and are used in all healthcare settings, hospitals, clinics, physician offices, you name it. For example, J06.9 is code for an acute upper respiratory infection. The second is ICD-10-PCS, the procedure coding system. These are specially for inpatient hospital procedures. They are used by facility coders in hospital setting. Example, OFB30ZZ, excision of lumbar vertebra. The third and one of the most important for most coders is CPT, or current procedural terminology. These are 5-digit codes maintained by the American Medical Association. They cover physician services, surgery, lab works, laboratory, and more. For example, CPT code 99213 is for established patient office visit. And the fourth is HCPCS2, the Healthcare Common Procedure Coding System. These alphanumeric codes cover durable medical equipment, medications, ambulance services, and supplies not covered by CPT. Each code set has its own rules. For example, E0110 equals clutches, adjustable or fixed. So each code set has its own rules, guidelines, and use cases. As you advance in your career, you will become intimately familiar with all of them. Let's break down the structure of an ICD-10-CM code, because understanding how codes are built helps you look them up and use them correctly. Take the example on this slide, S52.501A. Let's decode its character by character. The first character, the letter S, indicates the category. In ICD-10-CM, the first character is always a letter and it tells you the general body system or disease group involved. Characters 2 and 3, 52, provide more detail about the etiology or the anatomic site. Characters 4 through 6, that is .501, further specify things like the extent, the exact location or severity of the condition. And the seventh character, the letter A, is the episode of care indicator. A means this is the initial encounter, D would mean a subsequent encounter, and S indicates a sequelae, which is a complication that follows the original condition. So S52.501A translates to unspecified fracture of upper end of the right radius, initial encounter. Now let's talk about CPT codes in more detail. CPT codes are organized into 3 categories and it is important to know what each category represents. Category 1 codes are the main codes most coders work with every day. They range from 0000 to 99,499 and cover 6 major sections: evaluation and management, anesthesia, surgery, radiology, pathology and laboratory, and medicine. These are the codes that drive the vast majority of medical billing. Category 2 codes are supplemental tracking codes used for performance measurement and quality reporting. They end with the letter F, like 2000F, These are optional. They don't receive payment in their own, but they are used by organizations and insurance companies to track the quality of care. Category 3 codes are temporary codes for emerging technologies, new services, and experimental procedures. They end with the letter T, like 001T. When a new technology proves itself clinically, its category 3 code may be converted to a payment category 1 code. These codes go through a 4-year review cycle. Understanding which category a code belongs to tells you a lot about how it should be used and whether it will generate payment. Medical terminology. Medical terminology might seem intimidating at first, but once you understand how medical words are built, it becomes much easier and even fun. Almost every medical term is built from 3 components: a root word, a combining vowel, and a suffix, and sometimes a prefix. Look at the example in this slide. The word arthritis, break it down into arthr, that is the root word meaning joint. The letter O is the combining vowel which simply connects the root to the suffix, and itis is the suffix meaning inflammation. So put them together, inflammation of a joint, which maps to ICD-10-CM code M13.9. Once you know the common roots, prefixes and suffixes, you can decode almost any medical term. So some of the examples are displayed here. So I strongly recommend building a personal reference sheet of these word parts as you study. They will come up constantly in your coding work. As a medical coder, your entire job is based on documentation, specifically what the physician writes in the medical record. So understanding the types of records you will encounter is absolutely essential. There are 2 main categories of medical records. Inpatient records are for patients who stay inside the hospital for at least 1 night. These include detailed documents like a history and physical, OHNP, operative reports, and a discharge summary. On the other hand, outpatient records cover office visits, same-day surgery, emergency room visit, and clinic encounters. One of the most common documentation formats you will see is the SOAP note. SOAP stands for subjective, what the patient tells the doctor; objective, what the doctor observes and measures; assessment, that is the diagnosis; and the plan, the treatment course. Learning to read SOAP notes quickly is a core skill. For surgery coding, you will rely heavily on operative reports which describe exactly what was done during the procedure. Now let's look at the coding process flow on the right side of the slide. Step 1. Review the complete medical record. Step 2. Identify the principal diagnosis. Step 3. Identify all additional diagnoses. Step 4. Identify all procedures performed. Step 5. Assign the appropriate codes. Step 6. Sequence them correctly. And step 7. Submit a clean claim for billing. Following this systematic process every time will keep your coding accurate and compliant. Let's talk about professional certifications, starting with the AAPC, the American Academy of Professional Coders, which is the largest medical coding association in the world. The flagship entry-level certification from AAPC is the CPC, Certified Professional Coder. This is the most widely recognized coding credential in the United States, and it is the one most beginners pursue first. Here's what you need to know about the CPC exam. It consists of 100 multiple choice questions. You have 4 hours to complete it. And here's the great news, it is open book. You are allowed to bring your CPT, ICD-10-CM and HCPCS Level II manuals into the exam room. The key is knowing how to navigate those manuals quickly and accurately. And there's no formal requisites to take the CPC exam. However, if you pass the exam without 2 years of professional experience and AAPC membership, you will receive a CPCA credential. The A standing for apprentice. Once you gain experience, the A is removed. Beyond the CPC, AAPC offers a wide range of specialty credentials. The COC is for outpatient facility coding. The CRC focuses on risk adjustment coding, which is growing and high paying specialty. CPMA is for medical auditors. The CANPC covers anesthesia and pain management, and CEMC is specifically for evaluation and management coding. These specialty credentials can significantly boost your earning potential. Now let's look at AHIMA, the American Health Information Management Association. While AAPC tends to focus more on physician based coding, AHIMA certifications are heavily respected in the hospital and facility coding world. AHIMA's entry-level credential is CCA, the Certified Coding Associate. This is a great starting point if you are interested in facility or hospital coding. The exam is computer based, runs about 2 hours and contains roughly 90 to 110 questions. No prior experience is required. For more experienced coders, AHIMA offers CCS, the Certified Coding Specialist. This is one of the most prestigious hospital coding credentials available. The CCS exam is more rigorous. It is about 4 hours long and includes both multiple choice questions and actual medical record coding cases. Most candidates have around 3 years of inpatient coding experience before attempting it. There's also CCSP, the physician based version. This is focuses on outpatient services and CPT coding, similar in scope to the AAPC CPC. Beyond coding credentials, AHIMA also oversees 2 health information management degrees. The RHIT, Registered Health Information Technician, is a 2-year associate degree. The RHIA, Registered Health Information Administrator, is a 4-year bachelor's degree. This opens doors to bachelor's HIM leadership careers. So a question I hear from almost every beginner is, should I get certified through AAPC or AHIMA? Let me break this down for you clearly. AAPC CPC is best suited for physician office and outpatient coding. If you want to work in a doctor's office, specialty clinic or billing company, the CPC is the natural starting point. AHIMA's credentials, particularly the CCA and CCS, are better aligned with the facility and inpatient hospital coding. The exam format differs significantly. The CPC's 100 questions open book 4 hours. AHIMA's CCA 90 to 110 questions 2 hours, that also open book, and CCS is longer, more complex exam with live medical record cases. Both credentials are highly valued by employers. A big picture tip here. CPC holders tend to work in physician billing and outpatient settings. CCS holders command a premium in hospital inpatient coding, often earning higher salaries as a result. So the code book recommended are for AAPC, CPT, ICD-10-CM and HCPCS. But for AHIMA, ICD-10-CM, instead of CPT and HCPCS, here is recommend ICD-10-PCS. So my recommendation, look at the types of jobs available in your local market and see which credential employers ask for most. In most regions, both are valuable and some coders eventually earn both. Either way, getting certified is a major signal to employers that you are serious, competent, and committed to professional stand. Medical coding today isn't just about books and manuals. Technology plays a huge role in how coders work every day. The most important tools are encoder software. Encoders are electronic coding platforms that let you search, validate, and look up codes quickly. The 3 widely used in the industry are 3M Code Finder, Optum 360 Encoder Pro, and TrueCode. These platforms integrate all the major code sets, provide built-in guidelines, flag compliance issues, and include crossworks tools. Most hospital and large clinic coding positions require experience with at least one of these. Coders also work directly with electronic health record systems, EHRs like Epic, Cerner, and Meditech, where clinical documentation lives. Understanding how to navigate an EHR is an increasingly important skill. One of the most exciting and sometimes concerning developments in coding is computer-assisted coding, or CAC. CAC uses artificial intelligence to read clinical notes and suggest codes automatically. The coder's role then becomes reviewing and validating those suggestions rather than starting from scratch. This technology is expanding rapidly. So many new coders are feared about this AI technology. In reality, AI technology is helping the coders work easy. And finally, there's a clinical documentation integrity, or CDI. CDI specialists work closely with physicians to improve the quality and specificity of documentation, which directly impacts coding accuracy and reimbursement. The more comfortable you are with technology, the more competitive you will be in job market. Let's end with something exciting, the career possibilities that open up once you become a certified medical coder. The career ladder in medical coding is real and the progression is achievable. At the entry level as a CPCA or CCA, you can expect to earn in the range of $35,000 to $45,000 per year. You likely start in physician office, outpatient facility, or remote position. So these salary scales are applicable to USA and some Middle East countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia. Once you gain experience and hold your full CPC or CCS credentials, salaries typically rise to 45,000 to 60,000. At this stage, you are handling complex coding, working across specialties, and building your reputation. Senior and lead coders earn 60,000 to 75,000, often take on mentorship roles, quality reviews, and CDA support work. If you pursue a specialty in medical auditing, earning CPMA credential, you can earn $70,000 to $90,000 per year. Auditors review other coders' work, educate physicians on documentation, and manage compliance risk. At the top of the ladder, coding managers and compliance officers commands $85,000 to $110,000 annually, overseeing entire coding departments and enterprise compliance programs. And here's one of the best parts about this career. Over 60% of medical coding jobs now offer fully remote and hybrid work arrangements. You can build a high income career from the comfort of your home. So the path is clear, the demand is real, and it starts with your certification. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground today, so let's bring it all together with the key takeaways. Number 1. Medical coding is the universal language of healthcare. It translates clinical documentation into codes that drive reimbursement, compliance, and data. Number 2. The three code sets are ICD-10-CM for diagnosis, CPT for procedures, HCPCS Level II for supplies and drugs. Learn them deeply. Number 3. AAPC CPC is your best starting point for physician and outpatient coding. AHIMA's CCA and CCS are the gold standard for hospital and facility settings. Number 4. Evaluation and management codes are the most frequently used CPT codes. Mastering them will make you standout coder in any setting. Number 5. Compliance and ethical coding are non-negotiable. Always code what is documented. When in doubt, query the provider. And number 6. Medical coding offers strong career growth, the freedom to work remotely, and clear paths into auditing, compliance, and management. You now have the foundation. The next step is yours. Head over to AAPC.com or AHIMA.org to explore certification prep programs and take the first step toward your career as a certified medical coder. So my channel, Medical Coding with Dr. Ziad Ayya, is dedicated for the AAPC CPC coding. So if you are interested to start medical coding, the best way is to start with AAPC CPC. Subscribe my channel and check out all my playlist. So if you have any queries, please leave in the comment section, or else you can contact me using my WhatsApp and email provided in the description. Think and decide your medical coding pathway. Thank you.